Welcome to Best Practices, 3rd grade, Quadrilaterals. I'm Michaela Guaraniello. I'll take you back to the late 90s with this matrix reference. As Morpheus said, remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. I'll add on to that thinking by saying, remember, all I'm offering is the truth about quadrilaterals and nothing more. We have 2 benchmarks students will be exploring throughout this unit. The first one, identifying and drawing quadrilaterals based on their defining attributes. An example could be asking students to identify which shapes are quadrilaterals, and then they add the defining attributes to their response. Our second benchmark, recognizing specific categories of quadrilaterals, specifically including parallelograms, rectangles, rhombuses, squares, and trapezoids. Here we have students looking at different picture cards shaped into different quadrilaterals. They then categorize the cards into types of quadrilaterals and list their defining attributes to show knowledge and demonstration of understanding. Next, we have students can participate in a real-life scenario to help a frame shop owner build frames in the appropriate quadrilateral shape. They use scenario cards to see what shape their frames must be in order to be built for their customers. Looking at the MTRs throughout this unit, we will be working on MTRs 4, engage in discussions that reflect on the mathematical thinking of self and others. 5, use patterns and structure to help understand and connect mathematical concepts. And 6, assess the reasonableness of solutions. Here are some examples of student discussion in the classroom. Which quadrilaterals have 2 pairs of parallel sides? Students can define this or explain by saying that any shape that is in the parallelogram category would be a quadrilateral with 2 pairs of parallel sides. Examples could be squares, rectangles, rhombuses, etc. How can you determine which figures are quadrilaterals and which ones are not? If a student is able to describe attributes that define a quadrilateral, for example, a polygon with 4 sides, a polygon with 4 vertices or angles, this shows understanding and knowledge of defining attributes for quadrilaterals. As many of us realize, geometry relies heavily on the vocabulary and ensuring students know the vocabulary accurately. Some of this will look very familiar, like the term attribute, category, parallelogram, quadrilateral, rectangle, rhombus, square, subcategory. This might be new to some of us. I know we previously used the term classification. It is very similar to classifying and subclassifications. Then trapezoid. Trapezoid does have a new definition with the best standards. It has more the inclusive definition, whereas previously it was more exclusive. For example, a square can be classified as a trapezoid. As you can see, a quadrilateral with at least 1 pair of parallel sides. A member of the following shape classes: polygons, quadrilaterals. Subclasses include parallelograms, rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. Then square corner or square angle. This is the term that is used to describe a right angle. The term right angle and the measurement of angles and names of angles is not a 3rd grade standard. It is a 4th grade standard. However, the term can be used interchangeably to support and ensure students understand the connection between square angles and right angles. But this, for the time being in 3rd grade, it offers a nice visual for students to understand what we're looking for in that angle. It will be incredibly important for instruction to include appropriate defining attributes for all quadrilaterals. Here is an example of something that can be found in the BEST glossary. We have all different variety of quadrilaterals as well as the defining attributes just below. Students will be working with these attributes to understand which go with which shape. One activity students can do during instruction, they can take quadrilateral shapes and match them to an outline to identify the quadrilateral by its defining attributes, and then write and explain the names and the attributes. Our second example, students have examples and non-examples of specific quadrilaterals and their defining attributes. On the first activity, we really are hitting the MTR6, assessing the reasonableness of solutions, because its shapes must fit within the outline, then using discussion to note the specific attributes. MTR5 is really present in the second example. Students use patterns and structure to help understand and connect mathematical concepts. Students are looking at a variety of polygons to determine which can be classified as quadrilaterals, taking prior knowledge and applying it to the new knowledge to expand their thinking and reasoning. Teachers can ask students, and students can ask each other questions to ensure they are understanding the content that is presented. One question, what are the properties of quadrilaterals? Students can define them by providing a specific example and then defining the attributes and properties, or giving the generic four sides, vertices, and angles. How can I use attributes to classify quadrilaterals and non-quadrilaterals? They can analyze the number of sides, vertices, angles, and determine if a shape is open or closed. And finally, how are angles and opposite side lengths of a quadrilateral related? By learning the attributes of different quadrilaterals, students will be able to describe the different quadrilaterals and what attributes the angles and sides should have. Here we have two engaging tasks for students to do at home. First one is the quadrilateral riddles. Students can come up with riddles based on their knowledge of defining attributes of different quadrilaterals. And build a quadrilateral. This is a fun hands-on craft that students can do to build different quadrilaterals at home using craft sticks, straws, or any other straight items found in the home. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you feel as great as Oprah does when it comes to identifying, drawing, and recognizing categories of quadrilaterals. See you soon. Bye.